Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. Today, I want to holler. At y'all. In the words of Missy Elliott, this is for the ladies. Doom, 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 doom. So you had a. This is for my ladies. We're on girl time today. This is for the ladies. This is Lady Appreciation Day. In this episode, I'm going to call it Girl Power because we're going to talk about some female musicians and we're going to show them some love. And we're also going to talk about the power of creating and how much power being a creative person, being a musician, whatever you do creatively, how much power it really holds over a person and how it can affect the mood of a person. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about two specific artists, as I mentioned, and we're going to talk about one song from each of them that they both recently dropped. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first person I want to talk about with this Girl Power Hour is an artist out of Chicago named Jaila Day. Now, Jaila Day is Midwest. Shout out to the Midwest. I don't know where she is in Chicago. Hopefully, she's outside of the trenches because I think that's self-explanatory. Now, Jaila Day is a producer. She plays the bass. I don't know if she plays anything else. Not sure if she plays the guitar as well, but I am well aware that she plays the bass. I see her on Instagram. She's on TikTok, doing the bass thing, producing, so on and so forth. But she dropped a single, and you know what? It's spelled very weird. The name of the single is spelled weird. So I'm going, if it's an inside joke or an inside thing with her and her comrades, I wouldn't know. So I'm just going to pronounce it the way I think it's pronounced. I apologize to Jaila if I said it wrong, but I think you knew what you were getting into with that title. So I call it just a position. It sounds weird too. It says, this is how I pronounce it, just a position. That's all I got, just a position. So one thing about me is I more so like to talk about lyrics on this show. I never reviewed any sort of instrumental type music, and this is a new one for me. I know how music makes me feel. I can't break down specific sounds. You dig what I'm saying? I'm not a producer. I'm not into any of that. Now, I like music. It makes me move. It makes me sway. I talk about music on here. I interview musicians. But when it comes to really breaking down sounds and such, you're not going to get that here. Not on the Cool Hand Podcast. So this is a new one for me. But I DM'd Jaila Day about this song, and I just asked who all contributed to it. So she produced this. She produced it herself. She had someone named Ian. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Someone named Ian helped mix the song, and there's someone named Justin who helped with ideas. Now, so whatever ideas, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Justin. The idea man, the idea guy, and Ian the mixer. So if you haven't listened to this song yet, I advise you to just cut this off and check that song out because it has this is the word that they use. This was an internet term that transformed that transcended the internet and came into real life. Replay value. It's a valid term, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's just like what's replay value? It's all opinionated. You know what I'm saying? Like a song that I like might not be a song that you like. I'm going to replay it all the time and I say it has replay value and you're going to say no it doesn't. So it's an opinionated term like replay value. The song has replay value especially for an instrumental type music. Me and one of the homies was talking about Arca's music. That's I'll play some Arca, but I'm not going to play that joint every day. I'm not going to listen to the song "Now You Know" by Arca every single day because yeah, I need some lyrics in my life. That's just me. I need some lyrics in my life. So check that out, and by this time, you check by if you got this far, you check the song out. So, what I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna spend too much time, and we're gonna move on to our next young woman of the female power hour, girl power. Shout out to the females. This is for the ladies, and so it's an experimental. In her words, it was experimental. In Jaila Day's words, this track was experimental. It's labeled as alternative. When I look at it on Apple Music, it's classified as alternative. I hear the bass on there. It starts out, I would say, subtle. It has, it's kind of, it builds itself up. It is not a flamboyant track. It is not flashy. It is subtle. It is calm. There is a quiet yet bubbling ambiance, a soothing ambiance of the song. And so you hear that, you hear some noises, some sounds that are very pleasurable to the ear. And then you start hearing some words, some mumblings. I call them chants, little chants of I don't know what is being said, but I don't think it was meant to be known of what was being said. Just some like you hear some talking. Now y'all heard this, so y'all heard this song already. So I don't, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to really make those fake little noises that I just did. So you hear the little chants and the da 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 da, da, and then like you hear the beat drop. Oh, so now we're getting beats involved. So you hear a beat drop, and now you just do. So you just went from this little quiet, quiet ambiance, this soothing, you're feeling good, feel good music. Now you start to jig with it a little bit. You start to jig because you hear that beat drop. When you hear the beat drop, you have no other choice but to jig with it. So, and you hear some, I think they're called synths, like some other instrumental type noises that I'm just gonna call synths. Not in the yeah, let's just call it that. Forgive me if I butcher one of your producer terminology, your producer vernacular. I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan. So overall, like I think it's a great track. Uh, we're looking forward to some more music by Jaila Day out of Chicago, Midwest Movement, and uh, I guess that's all I got to say about that. It's overall a great track. It's feel good, especially with this weather that we have. Like right now, I have the natural light coming in from the window behind me up in the crib. Got a little window cracked. I'm feeling good. The sun's out. We just got out of that rough winter. So this is a track that you're definitely gonna want to keep playing during this spring weather, right over into the summer. Right into the summer, we're going to be playing this. That's a fact. And I chopped it up with some other people. And when I talk about that whole replay value thing that we discussed earlier, it has that. You could play this song over. This song is the real deal. This song is official. And that's facts. That's on facts. So shout out to Jaila Day. We're going to move on to our next individual of the female power hour, and this song is by a young woman named Ashley Gardner. Now I believe Ashlyn, excuse me, Ashley. That's not her name. It's Ashlyn Gardner, and Ashlyn is coming out of North Carolina, I think. Now for Ashlyn, however, I didn't know this young woman had music out all up on streaming platforms. I didn't know it. I saw her posting like, guitar, guitar videos up on the beach, or playing something like that, like some guitar videos of her singing. She did this rendition of now I'm going blank, but one of the original songs, Just Around the Corner, and it was great. I thought that was like really good. It was refreshing. I sang along to it. But I didn't know she had like a full project. She had a whole project on Apple Music, and just I just let it slip right up under me. But let me stop all the rambling. Let's get into uh, to Ashlyn's new song, and that song is called "Quiet in My Soul," Buttercup's lullaby. Now, who's Buttercup? I don't. Woo. Now, who's Buttercup? I don't know. I guess you can decide who Buttercup is, but uh, now I heard this song. This was a surprise single. It just dropped. What's today? Today's the 14th. It dropped on the 12th. So we're doing a quick turnaround time with this review, and it's an acoustic song. I didn't hear any electronic things. I heard the guitar, and that's pretty much it. And it's her vocals. She did backup vocals, and I was thoroughly impressed with this. Now, Ashlyn, before we get into the actual lyrics and songs, I want to talk about Ashlyn's voice. It reminded me of Zoe Deschanel. If people don't know, I'm embarrassed to admit this. I'm gonna just keep it real. Like I have her CD too. Zoe Deschanel, the actress, I think she's on a show called like New Girl or something like that. I didn't watch it. I don't care. But she was in that horrible movie called 500 Days of Summer. That movie was whack. But where was I? So Zoe Deschanel sings as well, and she has a pretty nice voice. So Ashlyn's voice reminded me of Zoe Deschanel with a hint of rasp, like a very subtle, slight hint of rasp in the good way that adds some soul to the voice, that adds some soul and a little more emotion to the voice. So listen to this song, by the way. I got to remind you guys every single time that you need to listen to the song before you hear me talk about it as I continue. Now, this is a song that she created with the intention of making people feel good. I'm quoting her, not verbatim, but she did have very good intentions with this song, and you can tell with these encouraging lyrics. So let's just do a quick read through of these lyrics, and we're going to talk about it just very briefly, and then we'll move on from that on the Girl Power Hour. Time will pass and things will change and everything will be all right again. The leaves will grow and the air will warm and everything will be all right again. Though the world is older, you're a little colder, a little wiser nonetheless. Though things aren't the way you expected them, everything, yes, everything, my love, everything will be all right again. All right again. There will be oceans, they'll hold you. There'll be mountains, they'll mold you. There'll be people, they'll love you. There will be warmth. There will be listening ears, oh, to dry all your tears through all the doubts and fears. One remains. I'm not even done with the lyrics, but it just puts a smile on my face. It just feels good to read, it makes me feel a little warm inside. Now, let's continue. Though things aren't the way you had planned and wished, everything, yes, everything, my love, everything will be all right again. All right again. There's a boat that is sailing. There's a girl that is mailing her heart over the railing, if it comes. Back to her, she'd be glad. If she's sad, she still knows that everything, yes, everything, my love, everything will be all right again. All right again. So I hope, these lyrics affected you like they affected me. I did a review of a song called Resilience by Garrett Spencer at the end of 2020. And I called it the song of 2020 because uh, everything that was reflected in his song, I felt was pretty relevant to what people were going through in the year of 2020. There was, namely, there was the coronavirus pandemic. That's when it really touched down in the United States. All sort of social and political issues that that are very prevalent in this country. So a lot of things were happening in 2020. In 2021, you can still feel a little gloom. Like a lot of people, what I hate is when people act like a change in the calendar year is going to make a huge difference. It's more of a social media thing. I think they're like, oh, I just can't wait for this year to be over. And like when it strikes like 12:01, on December 31st and going over into January of the new year, like does coronavirus like, oh no, our time is almost up, y'all. Like I never understood that. Like, so anyway, this song is it's very much needed because the struggles aren't over. There's a lot of people who have been affected by being inside a lot. Those who were socially, mentally, emotionally affected by being on a lockdown. A lot of people are still taking precautions, although the world is opening back up. There's still this the fungus is among us, as Rick Ross says. The fungus is among us.
The fungus is among us.
Hilarious. The fungus is among us, and you're still trying to take those precautions. So she uses like these personifications that I liked. There will be oceans, they'll hold you. There will be mountains, they'll mold you. There's just something. It's something about them lines that I was really rocking with. Like it took me back to grade school. Like, oceans can't hold you, mountains can't mold you. But when it comes to the mountains part, like you turn, let's just say like a mountain, you can see a mountain as an obstacle. You're trying to get to a destination. Let's just say the destination is happiness or contentment or something like that. And you're on this road to whatever destination you're trying to get, this contentment, this happiness. And there's this one big mountain called COVID-19 and isolation and lockdown that's in your way. That could take a toll on you. Like, boy, did I even, pack on this journey to wherever I'm trying to get to. I don't think I have the supplies to get past this mountain. So this struggle now, we done climbed that mountain and we're still on that mountain. You could, I guess, you can be on that mountain, right? We're talking about mountains, but you learn a lot on that mountain. Are you with me? You're with me. You get it. This makes sense. I'm the only one in here talking. So everyone in this room thinks this makes sense. So I'm just going to keep it going. So when you talk about the mountain molding you, you might have got up on that mountain. You're climbing it, find a new technique how to climb, to preserve energy or something like that. So you learn on the way. So when I hear that the mountain will mold you, that's what I think of. Now the ocean holding you, I took kind of like I took a different take on that. More so, not literally, but the scenery, being outside again, going to the beach, something like that. And it could be a representation of just how beautiful the natural earth is, just looking outside. Like I'm looking at a dead tree right now. Like there's like a dead tree, no leaves, none of that, but just the sunshine coming in on my crib it feels good. I talked about it before with the Jaila song. It felt good, but The song is reassuring overall. I've been talking a lot, but the song is reassuring. This is a reassuring bar. There'll be listening ears, oh to dry your tears. Through all the doubts and fears, one remains. And I'll let that be the last couple bars I talk about. And I thought these were powerful bars too. Listening ears to dry your tears. Okay, well, what sense does that make? Ears don't dry tears. But all your struggles and things like that, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to, and more so, somebody just to listen to you. You might have these struggles, gripes, anxieties, fears, sadness, and all you need to do is just let it out to somebody. And yeah, just let it out to somebody. And that can just be soothing. It can be therapeutic to someone. It doesn't cause all your problems to go away, but it's like a relief. You know what I'm saying? So a listening ear to dry your tears, someone to reassure you that everything's going to be all right. And through all of it, one remains. That one being me. That one being you. That one being Ashlyn Gardner. One remains. So I like the songwriting. You know, a lot of things come down to songwriting with me. Sometimes I'll listen to a song that I don't really care for on first listen. And then when I realize what they're talking about, I'm like, oh, I'm with that. Now, moving on about some more about the song, she did her own backup vocals, and that's what it sounds like. And you know, the guitar. I think it's very admirable, and I'm gonna tell you why. Her song specifically is admirable because now when I DM this woman, shout out to the ladies. This is Power Hour, female Power Hour, and I'm like, yo, I didn't know you had music on streaming platforms like that. And she said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I got music out there. You heard?" That's not what she said. I got music out there. You heard? You know, it's not mixed and mastered and stuff like that. But you know, I just like to put out music. You dig? I dig. She didn't say. I just put my own little sauce on her words. She don't talk. I don't know how she talks, but you know, in the DM. And this is what is admirable: the fact that this young woman put herself out there to begin with. I think it takes a level of courage to put something out there publicly because everything is up for scrutiny. But the intentions were pure. It was for a good cause. It was, you know, she just wanted to put a song out there to make people feel good, right? And you saw me smile a little earlier when I was reading her lyrics. So I think that mission was accomplished. She has a pleasant voice. I, like what more can you ask for? Who cares about the mixing and mastering? It was fine to me, and and that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. I think when people are really doing something they like and putting it out there, it's cool. And as somebody who does music, I'm sure she's gonna keep working on the other aspects of her creativity with music. So I think it's great, you know, especially during this time of unrest, right? You got to put on your mask when you leave the crib, making sure, like, you know, now I always kept sanitizer in my car. And I would always, you know, put it on when I came in, but it's like, you know, keeping sanitizer on deck. There's sanitizer around the house. You know, like there's all this other stuff going on, and it's so nice to see people. And in this episode, we're talking about females. This is for the ladies. Have these outlets, and you see how these two ladies that we talked about today, Jaila Day and Ashlyn Gardner, how they affected this young man. Actually, I'm getting kind of old. How they affected this old man. So, to both of them, great job. And that's the beauty of music. We have somebody from the rack from Chicago, playing the bass and guitar and making alternative, experimental ish music, and then you have somebody doing like, the acoustics. You have the acoustics. Let me keep my hands in the camera. You have the acoustics from North Carolina. You have the experimental from the rack. You put that together, you get a happy Quentin. You get a happy Quentin, and you get a podcast out of it. So keep the music coming, sisters. Keep the music coming, because I'm loving it, and I'm sure everybody else is loving it. So uh, that's it. That's all I got to say today. That's all I got to say. This is the Cool Hand Podcast. Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. This is the Female Power Hour, although this episode, rarely have solo episodes. I never have solo episodes that are an hour, but it just sounds good. And these females, they make it look easy. Y'all made it look easy. You did it with class. I was trying to figure out something else to say. Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.